4 fake cops kicked down my door at midnight. Glass shattered across the kitchen floor. My front door ripped off its hinges and 4 men in mismatched tactical gear stormed in shouting orders they had no legal right to give. They thought I was just some lonely retiree they could scare into silence, but they didn't know who they were dealing with. I'm Frank Bell, and I spent 30 years as a sheriff hunting real criminals. These amateurs had just walked into the wrong house. I didn't move to Pine Ridge Estates looking for trouble. I came here because I was broken. After 30 years in law enforcement after the Hendricks case, 18 kids don't ask me to go into it. I just couldn't carry that weight anymore. I retired early, packed up, and told myself maybe I'd learn how to relax. My son, Jake, he worried I'd rot away alone, so he helped me move in, even gave me a little garden gnome wearing a sheriff's hat. Every retired cop needs a partner who won't argue, he joked. First real laugh I'd had in months. Little did I know that innocent gnome would spark a war. See, day 1 in the neighborhood people waved, smiled, even offered to help carry boxes. By day 2, it all flipped. Neighbors crossed the street to avoid me, pulled their kids inside when I stepped out for the mail, whispered while staring at their phones. I didn't know what happened until Beverly Martinez, 62, sweet lady with nerves of steel, pulled me aside. She whispered like she was afraid someone might see her talking to me. Frank Teresa's been asking questions, telling people you're violent, that you retired early because of issues. Teresa Campbell, the HOA President Queen Bee of Pine Ridge Estates, had decided I was her next target. Now, I've dealt with criminals, manipulators, and liars, but this woman was playing chess while I was still unpacking boxes. She ran a coordinated smear campaign before I even knew I was in a fight. Community safety risk, she called me. The same man who spent decades protecting families. And while I was reeling from that, the HOA sent me a violation notice, $250 for the sheriff gnome on my porch. But here's the kicker: when I picked it up, I realized it had been tampered with. Tiny electronic device in the base. Someone was recording my conversations. Not paranoia. Cold, hard fact. Jake, being the IT guy, dug into HOA records. What he found floored us both. Hundreds of thousands of dollars siphoned into emergency maintenance projects, new roofs, driveways, siding, all funneled to one company, Martinez Construction. Teresa's brother-in-law. And every family that got those improvements, suddenly they were her loyal foot soldiers. She wasn't just a gossiping neighbor. She was running an embezzlement scheme, buying loyalty and using fear to crush anyone who questioned her. And I, the retired cop with too many questions, was enemy number 1. I thought maybe, just maybe, if I explained myself calmly, I could end this. So I went to the HOA meeting. Big mistake. Teresa put on a show worthy of a courtroom. Photos of me picking up mail, walking my dog, reading a damn newspaper, twisted into systematic surveillance. She painted me as some predator stalking families. I tried to defend myself, to remind people I'd spent 30 years locking up real criminals, and for 1 second I saw doubt in their eyes. But Teresa, she was slick. Of course he knows how to hide it, she said. He was trained in law enforcement. She turned my greatest strength into proof of guilt. That night she filed for a restraining order. I was banned from community spaces, treated like a pariah in my own home. And that's when I broke. I sat in my kitchen with those papers spread out in front of me, and I thought, maybe she's right. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe if I just kept quiet, smiled, paid my fees, I wouldn't be in this mess. 30 years chasing monsters, and here I was crushed by a suburban HOA president. I wanted to pack up, leave Pine Ridge behind, disappear. But Jake wouldn't let me. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Dad, they're destroying you because you're the only one who can stop them." That hit me. Hard. He was right. If I left, Teresa would keep doing this, and I'd lose myself completely. So I decided if this was war, I wasn't backing down. The deeper Jake dug, the worse it got. He uncovered restraining orders Teresa had filed in her previous neighborhood against 3 different men. All middle-aged, all with authoritative backgrounds, all bearing a resemblance to her late husband, David Campbell. David died in what was ruled a household accident, fell down the stairs during an argument. But when I saw his photo, my blood ran cold. He looked almost exactly like me. Same build, same face shape, and suddenly everything made sense. Teresa didn't see Frank Bell. She saw David Campbell. Every smile, every question, every glance, I was a ghost haunting her, and she was determined to destroy me like she destroyed them. It only got darker. She parked outside my house at night, calling me David on the phone, whispering things she couldn't explain. Why do you keep asking questions I can't answer? One night, she showed up at my door with David's photo in her hand. Tears streaming down her face, she confessed he found out about the stolen HOA funds, threatened to expose her. They argued, she pushed him, and he fell. I should have felt vindicated, but all I saw was a broken woman drowning in guilt. For a second, I pitied her, until she pulled out a lighter and a can of fluid, shaking, whispering, "Tonight it ends." David. That's when my training kicked in. I documented everything stalled, and neighbors started filming. Teresa collapsed on my steps, sobbing, her confession echoing through the street. I thought it was over. I thought the nightmare had finally broken. I was wrong. 3 nights later, my reinforced door exploded off its hinges, and those 4 fake cops stormed in. They shouted police warrant, but their uniforms were a joke: county sheriff patches on a city shirt, vests on backward fonts wrong on the word police. Amateur hour. I grabbed the coffee pot still hot, deflected a taser with a dish towel, disarmed a baton swing with academy reflexes. Within minutes, I had all 4 zip-tied with cable ties from my garage. 30 years of training doesn't just vanish, and for the first time in weeks, I felt alive. They cracked fast. The lady paid us $5 grand to recover documents their leader admitted. Documents that didn't exist. Teresa's last-ditch effort to frame me as blackmailing her. But even then, she wasn't done. My landline was cut. My car sabotaged. Cell signal jammed. The fake cops weren't the main event, they were just here to isolate me. And then headlights filled my street. Trucks, not police. Hired muscle. At least 8 men climbing out ready to finish the job. My old partner Kevin Chen showed up just in time. We set up defensive positions. 2 old cops against 10 hired thugs. But neighbors, the same ones who once shunned me, started to wake up. Beverly raised her husband's old hunting rifle from her window. The young couple across the street flipped on every light and filmed everything. Teresa wanted a quiet cleanup. What she got was a public showdown. When the real police finally arrived, the evidence was overwhelming. The fake cops confessed. The embezzlement trail was undeniable. And Teresa, the queen of Pine Ridge Estates, was finally dragged away in handcuffs. 8 years in prison for manslaughter theft conspiracy. The HOA lost its queen bee, and I, the man they tried to exile, was still standing. That's the story of how my quiet retirement turned into a battlefield. I didn't ask for it. I just wanted peace. But sometimes when someone works this hard to destroy you, it's because you're the only one standing in the way of the truth. Some truths are worth the fight.